Welcome back to the Scaling Deep podcast. I'm really happy to be with you today talking about some of the questions that I have used ChatGPT to research just to get a library of questions on what some of the concerns might be or the confusion points people might have when they're thinking about starting a membership. And the one that came up today for me was just perfect timing, which how to sell and run a membership at the same time as offering private services such as VIP days. And I'm going to talk about that because that's what I currently offer. And I want to share with you a little bit on how I offer them both at the same time and what that means. Now, a lot of people who start membership programs come from just having a real interest or hobby or something that they're really excited to connect with more people on in a different kind of way. And they want to run it in the form of a membership program for all the great reasons. And other people have a practice full of clients in some way, shape, or form, whether it's offering sessions and coaching or counseling, that kind of stuff, or whether it's more implementation oriented, where you're doing the doing for people, like say it's web design or podcast production or whatever it happens to be. It's something in that delivery format. And a membership is that way of getting out of that super busy schedule. So one of the things that I have in mind is not so much an ongoing, like month to month coaching calendar like I had when I first started out as a coach. In fact, I did start out that way years ago. And then even though I moved closer to helping small businesses and entrepreneurs, I still offered more hour type sessions. But then it was about 7 years ago that I started switching those out to packages, and I began to offer 6 session packages and things like that so that I could help get people from one point to the next point and really sell them an outcome. Like, this is what we're going to work on and figure out together, and here's where you'll be by the end of that. Now, after I started doing that about 7 or so years ago, it wasn't long after that, probably within a year or two, probably by maybe 2017, that I realized that the highest point of that package for people was after the first 1 or 2 sessions. It was really in that awareness building piece about what they needed to work on and what was really the main focus and should be the main focus versus what they might have thought was their big problem or the big body of work ahead of them. So that clarity was always so important for people. And then as they began working it through, it was harder for them. They got a little bit more lost, a little bit more discouraged, and didn't always want to follow through on things. And I realized that for me, is helping them come up with the big plan and the awareness of what really needs to happen, of what kind of business they were building, was the most important part. I then condensed that, what was a 6-session package at that point, into a VIP day. Now, this is before I even knew what VIP days were, meaning I called them business intensives. They were about 3 to 4 hours because there just wasn't a need to do a really long VIP day because it was just too much, because it's just so much talking and extracting information that the most of it was really gathered in just 3 hours. So I realized that in condensing that and then giving a window of time for them to implement and continue to ask questions via Voxer or via email, and then wrap up with a final session at the end of that month, was just the perfect package. So I've been doing that for a long time now. It was a little more general business, and now it just happens to be more membership businesses, but it's really the same body of work. And that just was so great to land on that type of package because it was such a quick win for people and a really satisfying offer for me. So that VIP package is something that's taken me through years of business growth and years of revenue and income for me. Love, love, love it. And when I introduced my membership, the Scaling Deep Society, that felt a little bit scary because I knew that instead of getting people who would either Google looking for support or hear about me through different visibility techniques, but it was mostly Google at the time, and getting them to just filter into a funnel that led to selling my membership program was a huge leap of faith because I knew my VIP day packages were powerful, they were satisfying, they got great results. They left people walking away from those huge fans and just excited about what they knew they had to do, and the fact that they knew how to do it, and that they fell in love with their offer again, and they knew how to communicate it properly. They were giving me great testimonials, and it was just amazing. So I knew that that was a bit scary because that was bread and butter as well. There's just no funnel cost to that. There's no expensive ads campaign to get people into a sales funnel. It's just really a matter of, here's the offer that's on my website. Book a consult with me so that you can really get a sense if this is right for you and if we're a good fit for each other. And moving into a less known sales strategy, because every time you start selling one-to-many, meaning you're not having that personal touch call with them, you're not having that opportunity to answer questions, because even though you say, ask me any question, a lot of people won't necessarily respond to an email that is a little more general and they don't really believe there's going to be a good person on the other end willing to answer a question. Or sometimes they don't even know what the question is until they're on a call with you and they start to just share what's going on for them. And then that naturally evolves into resolving some of their doubts about taking the next step. So that was a big leap, and one that I knew was necessary, even though it was a bit painful, okay? Because I wanted to build up a program that required to have enough people in it to really make it a true one-to-many membership type program. And so that did require me taking some of my focus off of the energy that I could have used getting people into conversations with me on calls into a less personal funnel that would ultimately lead to them joining the Scaling Deep Society if they chose to pay attention, to consume the content, to actually look at the sales page and see what is this whole thing about, which again, that is the challenging part. And away from that, more likely to buy from me once they got to meet with me and they saw how much I could help them. So even though they get that in the society and they get that opportunity, it's still more of a self-led program. And sometimes you do question that, does someone actually really want to buy into a one-to-many membership, or do they really want that hands-on support? So I took the focus off selling VIP days last year in 2022. And yes, I'll be really honest. My revenue and income actually did go down for it. I just finished my taxes, and yes, I was. It's a good reality check. Am I glad I did it still? Absolutely, because I needed to build a great funnel that allowed people to see what I was offering in my membership program and to naturally bring any lead who comes into or prospect, I should say, that comes into my world on my website into a place where they would see what I had available to buy without having to have a conversation with me. And I needed to set that system up so that I could grow a program that can build it on the energy that comes into it, with the questions that come up, with the kind of people who join. And I needed the people in it in order to do that. So setting up that funnel for that was a big part of my effort last year. It took quite a bit of time, quite a bit of focus, but it had all these great benefits because when you are deciding to sell a program like that, you really start to build up your own case and your own convincing that the program is awesome, because you convince yourself of it while you're making the case for it in your sales copy and in your emails, and by getting people to look at it and give you their feedback. So that not only made me more excited about what I was offering within my Scaling Deep Society, but just as a membership expert on my own, that really helped me feel more confident with my authority, because I had to go through all the right steps to put myself out there and gain visibility and build a really compelling funnel that gave people the best chance of getting a sense of what they would get without having to have a call with me, so that they could walk in and go like, oh, okay, I get this. And again, and I am happy to say, for the people who actually pay attention in that funnel, when I do meet with them, they're really excited. They're like, wow, I loved what you put out there. What you said really resonated with me. So that was well worth the effort. And now that I have that set up, I have been focused on this year, still improving it, still finding ways to bring people in it, but that is way less work than doing the groundwork of doing all the writing and the thinking and the sharing. And now I can be a little bit more focused on bringing people into VIP days who might not have even known that I had them. And one of the things I did though too, just even before now that I'm thinking more about how to get more people to know that they exist, I always had them on my website, and that was my only offer that you could see what it is I sell, other than a few small items in my shop, and how much I charge and what you get. Whereas the Scaling Deep Society, my membership, was something that you got into and you got access to through another event that I was hosting, or a workshop, or through my evergreen funnel. So people who would automatically be searching on things like membership coach, well, the good news is that because I've worked on my SEO, I've always done blog posts and things like that, I get found number one on that search term. So what that means is that VIP day package is set up to bring in people who are actually looking for direct support and coaching versus joining a membership or just learning about membership things. So even though the website was still getting some SEO traffic last year, I didn't put as much effort into optimizing everything so the right people would find me for, say, that service. And a lot of the times in business, our biggest challenge is knowing what to focus on first and when. And it is really difficult to do it all. So yes, I did let my VIP day growth plans kind of drop last year. I had zero expectations. And of course, I still had a number of VIP clients. I could have had way more, but I didn't really worry about it because I knew that they were there and I knew that they are really powerful and I've always sold them. So I wasn't as worried about them. So I let it go. And then this year I've spent time like up leveling the copy on that sales page. Like I've made it a little more appealing. I've put more time into it. And I'm making sure I talk about it a bit more with people so that they know that it's there. And then, making sure that people inside my Scaling Deep Society also know that that one-on-one support is there. Although when you do buy a VIP package with me, you also get access to the society. So that also helps to build it, except for it's just more of a one-by-one strategy than a one-to-many funnel can do. So the answer to the question is that how do you differentiate? Because that's another question. Like I actually got asked today in a workshop, what are your offers and how do you help people? And that can be a tough one sometimes when you don't have the context of who you're speaking to, because some people will want to learn in different ways. And it's perfectly okay to choose one over the other, and they're both great. So sometimes having that context can really, really help. And that's why when you are choosing to grow a program that's one to many, you can feel confident that the people who are really interested in more will reach out and ask for more, or they will look around on your website for how can I get direct support from somebody. And those are really, high intent people. Like, I wouldn't just say even high buyer intent. They're just to have a very high intention for reaching their goal. And they are willing to get the support, pay a little bit more to get that direct access to someone who they know that they can utilize to accelerate their steps to getting there. And so as long as you have that clear somewhere, you can feel confident focusing on growing that one-to-many program, that membership, knowing that you have ways to have the other offer there that can really shine a light on it. And then bring it up once in a while to your list and to other people and let them know that it exists. So those are really great offers to have together because they're still both packaged, right? And if you are somebody who has a lot of one-on-one and you are starting to think about how to package it up in a better container so you can really get out of that hour by hour cycle of being booked back to back and maybe months out, it's really an interesting move to package it up together in some kind of 5 sessions, or maybe even 2 hours together and then 3 follow-ups. That's an excellent way to start getting used to selling things in containers so that people really have to invest into what it is that you're offering, and you're attracting people who are really excited about the results. And that's why that is an easy way to manage. I know how to manage my time around it because there's one really intensive day, and then after that, it's not a lot of time to deliver. So it helps me figure out how to have a really spacious schedule on a regular basis, so I don't feel like I'm not able to work on the membership or add trainings to the membership. And with programs like that, I love the idea of having this like access point that just keeps like going up. So for example, everyone who is in my VIP day world gets access to everything in my Scaling Deep Society, and everyone in my Scaling Deep Society gets access to everything I have in terms of all my training materials, whether there's small items out there, all of my courses, all of my trainings, everything is in that. So that makes it really easy for me to create for everyone. Okay. So the VIP day gets private access, private coaching and strategy. We figure out exactly what they need to do. There's no question when they leave those sessions what they need to work on. And then all the materials to enhance that learning are inside my society. So that just makes it easy for me to be able to offer them all. Not as tiers, because I'm not selling them at the same time, but what it means is my creation and delivery becomes quite simple, and I can allow people to really choose what they're interested in and seek out more or less support depending on how eager they are to find out about what is the maximum level of support or the shortest amount of time they can get the result in. And of course, when anyone asks me that question, I'll tell them it's the VIP day that's going to massively accelerate your workload, reduce your workload, I should say, and massively accelerate your time to launch or relaunch, especially when the things that are holding them back are a little bit complicated. So I hope that was helpful for you today. If you are interested in checking out my VIP day packages, again, they're amazing value. The price is about to go up, so have a look at that at scalingdeep.com/coaching. They're jam-packed, set up for you to succeed with all the right things, not the extra fluff. And they're they're definitely not one size fits all. We really work on a plan that works for you together. It's not a prescriptive thing at all. So if you're thinking about offering a membership and another package like a VIP day, it's an excellent offer suite. It's very simple. It allows you to still plan out and max out, your revenue and plan out your schedule. And I think it'll work really well for a lot of people out there watching this. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.